Chris with Robinson Auto Detail out of Brandon, Mississippi, and I have got the opportunity here to sit with Mr. Ken and Mr. Brad and visit with them about their 1954 Corvette. I have known this crew here for about, what, 15 or 20 years now, and walked past this car about 100 different times ready to put my hands on it, and so I've got the fortunate experience now to say that's going to happen today. So Mr. Ken has owned this car for quite some time, and we'll tell you a little bit about that as we kind of go on through the day. Brad called me up and wanted to get this thing cleaned up and get it ready to put in a storage facility until times come for us to make some modifications to the car. Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. So my dad bought this car the year that I was born, back in 1986, and it's kind of a bucket list car for him, and it's been here ever since. And we're finally putting it into a kind of a final resting place before we do a restoration on it next year. And I mentioned to Chris we were going to move the car, and he said, man, we need to document this and clean it up and have it looking good. So we're really excited to see what he's going to do for us.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like the opportunity to work on a 54 Corvette, right?
That's right.
So, Mr. Ken, you got anything you want to say about it? Are you excited?
Not a thing except glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Auto Detail today. We've talked about this 54 Corvette. Man, I'm excited to get on this thing. As you can tell, this car hasn't been washed in quite some time. I believe 1986 was the last time this car was touched. As far as cleaning goes, it's been moved to several different facilities for storage. But today, we're getting ready to decontaminate this thing. We're not going to do any polishing or paint correction or ceramic coatings today. We're going to do a heavy interior decon on this car, try to get it cleaned up, take care of the dash, the door panels, the interior, the floorboards. We'll move underneath the hood, make sure we get that cleaned up. It is the original Blue Flame 6. Currently does not run. We're in the process of making a decision of whether or not that's going to happen. So we're going to move to that, and then on the outside, we're going to remove all of this. So we've just got a bunch of dirt and grime and grease that has fallen over the years, and hopefully we'll have a good turnaround video for this deal. So as you can see here, we've cleaned some of this area up, just general vacuuming, but we've got some rat droppings and other things that have kind of accrued over the years, and so we want to wear gloves, make sure we're protected. That stuff can be very potent. It's got a stench to it, so we're going to be careful with removing some of that stuff, but definitely need to make sure these seats and all get removed properly, and we take care of the contamination. All right, so what we're doing here is we're basically just cleaning the seat. So I've got the actual owner of the car working today, so that's always fun, right? This is just basically to take off any kind of dirt, residue, anything that's on top layer, and then of course we'll come back in with something a little heavier, a degreaser, to remove all this dirt and grime from the seams and make sure we get some of this grease and stuff off of it, and just emulsifies the dirt. It's chemically driven, so it's not a heavy-duty scrub where we've got to get in there really deep. So being that these are an older vinyl type seat, we can get away with some of that. The color's not that big of a deal. We're not looking for perfection. We just want to get it good and clean. So we've completed some of the interior, we pulled the seats out, we got it vacuumed, deconned some of the interior stuff, went ahead and took care of tires and wheels, but now we're going to move to the body. So as you can see here, Brad is working on trying to clean some of that up. I've got a product here that just emulsifies the dirt, kind of pulls it up from the surface. A little less scrubbing than we have to do. The less we touch it, the better off we are, obviously. But you can see the color difference already, and this is just the initial wash on it. So we'll do this, we'll foam it down with some soap, we'll do a second wash on it. Hopefully we'll have a good end result. So what we're doing now is we're just going to clean up the interior. Most of this stuff is painted. We've got some vinyl or leather on the door panels, but most everything inside the car is painted. So we're going to wipe the dash down. We've got a couple of products we're going to use to moisturize and finish some of these leather and vinyl pieces, just like we did with the seats earlier. Most of the interior is kind of deteriorated, so that'll obviously be fixed down the road. But we'll clean what we can, what we've got left, and make sure it's just kind of tidied up.
Hey guys, so yeah, we just completed the cleanup process on the 54 Corvette. Chris did an amazing job with what he did here, and I don't know if you've seen, he's probably got some other footage, but it absolutely looks awesome. And what we're gonna do is load the car back up, take it to my dad's new shop. We've kind of been a long time in the making of Dad and I talking for 20-something years about living next to each other and working on cars together. And we've got a spot in his shop just dedicated to hold this car. He bought it back in 1986, the year I was born. And we're gonna take it back and surprise him with it. It probably is cleaner now than it was when he got it in 1986. And so we're excited to see what he says about it and get his excitement and enthusiasm.
Leave it straight.
More over here.
Give us some shirt.
I'll do that too.
I'll buy some shirt. That's what you think I'm doing the right thing. Yeah, that's a little white car.
Yeah.
It's a lot prettier than it did when it left here a while ago. I'll tell you what, it amazes me.
Go check it out.
Y'all put a power washer on it on? What do y'all do?
Chris just did his thing. Go look at it.
Did Chris put anything on that thing for us? So, wow. That is cleaned up very nicely. It actually is a pretty white line. Good.
We got
Get your walk around.
a couple of steps left to do to it, but this was the initial cleanup.
So it looks 100% better than it did, Chris. Been sitting there for a long time, son.
Check this out. We come look at this little spot right here. This is step 2 right here. This is what we're gonna do next.
Get a little shine to it.
See that?
See that reflection on that?
I see it. I see it.
That's round 2. That's when we'll get here and get it
Check out
knocked
the
out.
interior, seats and dash, and steering wheel.
I got new seats for seat covers for that, by the
We'll
way.
be talking about these seat covers right now.
I know, but I got new ones, so you'll know. They're right up there. I run across them a couple of days ago. They're somewhere in there. My name is Ken Barrington, and I want to tell about the story of this 54 Corvette that we own. I bought this car several years back. It took about 10 years to buy it because every Christmas would roll around. I made a trip over to Castlewood subdivision, knocked on the door, said, "Are you ready to sell me that 54 Corvette?" And the young man would come to the door. I say a young man, he was older than I was. And he would told me for about 10 years in a row, no, I have no interest in selling that car. He surprised me. I had my son, who had just been born maybe a month ago, 2 months old, plus or minus. And I said, since you got that baby born, I said, I'm gonna sell you that car today, but you're gonna have to go get me some money, give me cash. And I need you to realize I cannot sell you the car unless I get the trust that this car is presently in. I get that money out of the bank. So I went to the bank with him later that day, took some money with me, and bottom line is was able to buy the car. The car is set up now for 15 to 20 years. It's been in 2 or 3 different garages, 2-car garages, and I lived in houses. I always make sure that it stayed out of the rain. I think I left one winter, I left it out about 2 weeks. But other than that, it's just sit in a controlled environment most of that life of that car, once I had it. And I later, maybe a year later, decided one day I was going to crank it up, and I did. My wife and I went riding across Gate Subdivision for a couple of hours, and drove the car and got it running, got all the bad gas out of it. And also there was a aftermarket bubble top that came with the car. It just dawned on me that was not anything that we've ever used, but it was like a California such and such car that just was good to keep it stored in for if it rained while we were at it outside, something we didn't have to worry about getting wet with that top on it. I think we still got the top somewhere. It may be the surface here, should say, who knows. I think we got written down the dealership that originally had it in their name. The car has never been out of the dealership's name or my name. That's only 2 names it's ever been in. And all that time, I don't think there've been any miles on it. I think the odometer shows 68,000 miles. This car, I don't know if we're going to do anything. Exactly what we're going to do with the car. We're planning on doing a frame-off restoration on it. But we got a couple of cars that we're going to be building in the next 6 months. So it's we may end up wanting to put a whole new frame and everything under it, but we haven't got to that point yet. But hopefully we'll be getting into it soon.